Hello guys, welcome back. This time we will not do a town hall series, but instead we will look at my favorite tactics for the war. The giant, bowler and the witch strategy. So this is my personal favorite and usually the one I recommend others to use as well. Let's have a look what I think is important in this strategy. Alright guys, here we go. So, this is my personal favorite composition and I am a Town Hall 13, so it might vary a little bit depending on your Town Hall, what you can actually bring in. Let's see the most key basic things you have to look out for when going with this strategy. So, the first thing you want to look at is where is the eagle artillery. You always want to take out the eagle artillery first if possible. The clan castle troops doesn't matter as much with this strategy. If you can lure them out, of course that's good. If not, usually doesn't matter at all. Secondly, you will always want to attack from a side like this, or here, from here, or from here, or from here. A very common mistake is that people will attack from the corners, going into the bases like this. And that is usually not a good idea unless you have a lot of experience with this strategy and know how to funnel your troops so they will not sprinkle out as soon as they get inside the few first walls. So, the second part about this strategy that's super important is the funneling. The funneling means you will have to take care of the outer edges of your attack path. Like for instance with the eagle artillery here, I would suggest probably coming from this side because of the reason that the queen is here, so then I can take her out at the same time when I go in. I could also come in from this side here, and those are the two best recommended angles. So we will have to start to put out some witches in the edges here because they have some range and they can start the funneling process by taking out defenses at the corners. We would like to take out defenses like this, so when we deploy all our troops here, they will all go into the middle like this. Alright, the most important, I know I said the most important several times here, but give me a break. There's several key points that's really important with this strategy, and then the rest will handle itself. So what you want to do with your main force is get them in the middle of the base, and you want to get them on top of the highest DPS section of your opponent's base as soon as possible. That's usually why you use rage. With this kind of funnel you will come into the middle. So after you get into the middle, your war wrecker is usually dead, so you will need your only jump spell to get your units to get out from the middle in either, in this particular base, this direction or this direction. Hopefully the latter of these two, because the Inferno Tower here is a good one to take out, even though it might not matter as much depending on how your units move. Another key point with the Inferno Towers, if they are set to single target, this strategy should almost always succeed. Almost always. It's still difficult sometimes, of course. It's not a perfect strategy at all, I hope there isn't one. It would make this game very boring if there was one perfect strategy that killed everything. But if you have single target infernos like this strategy is very good, because a lot of bowlers and witches provide extra units as well as they spawn skeletons, so you'll have a lot of units, so hopefully the infernos won't target your heroes, which are the most important. Alright, so let's see how I did in this replay. I think I attacked from the bottom here, yes. So as we can see, the witches, let's actually take half speed. The witches attack from the corners to start the funneling, as we talked about earlier. I put up all the giants because he has a lot of defenses here, quite close to where I deploy my troops. This is usually not preferable, but it's still the best angle of attack, because we want to get into his DPS section, which is here, as soon as possible. So his clan castle troopers go out. Hopefully I would now put down my poison spell here, but I think I'm a little bit late with that one in this game. I think I was more focusing on deploying my troops. So the bowlers and witches here are supposed to take out these defenses, because we don't want our main troops here wandering off in this direction, but instead we want them to go into the base. So luckily the balloon and the electro dragon is fighting skeletons, which is usually the case when you spawn a lot of witches, and my poison spell goes down now, way too late. And here we can see we're in a bit of danger. So the Inferno Tower has locked on our champion. That is not something we would like, but we have a few free spell with us, so we can solve the problem. When the Inferno Towers are as close as they are to the Eagle artillery, we can freeze them both, which is very preferable. So we freeze them all here, which gives us lots of time to just crush the middle here with our main force. Unfortunately, we can see our queen is going to the side because we didn't funnel properly here. But we took out the core, which is good. If we now look at what's happening here, we have units moving this direction, which is fine. It's just not preferable that it's the queen. We have our main troops from the middle walking this direction as well, and we have troops here that will actually probably go along these routes to clear up everything. So we have despite our little poor funneling here in the beginning, we have a good setup to take it all. So I throw down some heals here, because you really want your bowlers to go up to max health, because they're super important damage dealers. And now we can see the Inferno Tower has locked on to another hero. We really want our Barbarian King to stay alive if possible. So I activate the Grand Warden so he can be invulnerable. So it's all looking fine now. We still have one freeze, and now it locks on the hero again, so I use the last freeze, and this is looking quite good. The archer queen still has her ability left, so it's usually not a problem if we get to the end stages and she has her ability left to use, still to use. And that's a 3-star versus their number 1 in war. Granted, he wasn't especially strong, but his walls and defenses were at least decent. So let's check out another one as well. Alright, so here's another attack from another member in our clan, in the same war, of course. And this base is a little bit more tricky, but let us think and reason like we did in the last attack and see what's important to do here. So, first of all, let's try to decide the angle of our attack. The eagle artillery is here together with the archer queen, which probably means we should come from above here, from this direction. So this is actually a very tempting base for people to go from the corners, just because of the base layout. But unless you're super careful, if you go from the corners here, your troops will spread out. Say for example you put your wall wrecker here with the intent to go through the base like this, and then you start your funneling here and here maybe, because you want your troops to funnel in this way, right? The problem with that is they might not even if you create the funnel properly, they might still scatter out when they reach this part, because if you funneled, you destroyed these buildings, right? And you destroyed these buildings here as well. So when your troops get to here, they still have a lot of buildings here to kill and a lot of buildings here to kill, which means they will just go in those directions. So I have attacked this base setup previously with 3 stars, with even Town Hall 13 ones. So it's definitely possible, but let's look out for the traps here. So we have multiple targeting Inferno towers, and there's 2 of them. So that's always a problem for this particular strategy. Of course we can take it out, and especially with the champion, she's very good at hopping over walls and kill stuff, especially these Inferno towers. So I will probably use her here or here. Since the champion attacks defenses first, if we have funneled away this section and these sections, she will go directly in here to the Inferno tower and take it out. But the first defenses usually don't matter because you have your whole army to take them out. So I'm more, if I attack from this angle here, I'm more inclined to be worried about this one in particular, and maybe even these 2, how I will get to these 2, because they will dish out a lot of DPS and usually troops cannot reach them so easily. But with all that said, in this particular case I would add 1 jump instead of 1 rage. So in that case I can put a jump here to get inside this portion with my troops and kill it, and I will use the, let me see if I can write here, my writing sucks. I would use the wall wrecker here somewhere to go through the wall here in its attempt to get to the clan castle, so I will break through this wall easy. I don't want to use the wall wrecker over here because it might just die for the single Inferno Tower at that point. And then I will use the funnel as normal, taking out these buildings here and these buildings here, and then just try to funnel everything into the middle, as we always say. Alright, so depending if the War Wrecker survives or not, we might have to use our other jump spell, which I would have packed probably here. So let's see how Sarek does. Oh, one more pointer. We can do one more pointer. The CC troops here on this side is usually not so difficult to deal with. When you have bowlers, witches, and even the Archer Queen, and nowadays even the Champion, you can deal with CC troops easily. That's usually why I pack up poison as well. But in some particular cases you can take out the poison and add another freeze spell. So with all that in mind, let's see what Sarek did here. Alright, he's starting his funneling. Let's go half speed, so maybe I can talk at the same time without pausing. So the funneling starting using bowlers here even, and here comes the Wall Wrecker for this path here, deploying some giants, and the witches and bowlers should be not super far behind. This is taking a bit too long, maybe because it is at such a low speed. But you also want to wait for the Wall Wrecker to bust through actually. Oh, there was the Champion as well. She went in just to go kill this. Exactly. Alright, so he wanted to funnel properly first. The problem here is seems that no one goes through the jump here. Other than that, the funneling seems quite perfect. Everything goes here. So he uses a free spell to get some more time against the Eagle Artillery, because everything is clumped up. We don't want that. Probably using a heal spell here as well, I guess. Uh-oh. Here's a big problem. That was a big problem. Did you see that, guys? The Wall Wrecker wasn't fast enough to go through here. In retrospect, I would say don't put the Wall Wrecker here. That was probably the mistake. Put it here as well, so it can travel with your troops and maybe break through here so you can get your funnel into the middle. Because as we saw, the Champion, this lovely lady, she went in here anyway and took care of it. She took care of business with that Inferno Tower. So maybe we don't need the Wall Wrecker to break through here now when we have the Champion. Since the Wall Wrecker hasn't finished off the walls here, all the troops funneled in the different locations, and that's a big no-no. That's a super big mistake, if you will. So let's see what happens here. So the CC troops come out, and despite our units being divided here, they usually don't provide so much of a challenge for them anyway. So a few units go into the against the town hall, but it was just few units. They don't have the DPS to take it down even with a free spell. If there was one more free spell, maybe they could have, or just a few more bowlers, maybe they could have. So you can also say Sarek got a little bit unlucky here. If he had switched up his poison spell for another freeze, maybe he would actually have taken this out. So he activates the Grand Warden here to save as many troops as possible. I think here is the time you realize you will not get the second star at all. So now he's just trying to get as much destruction as possible. Never leave it, guys. Just let the units fight out, especially if you're in war. If you're farming, doesn't matter if you leave or not, depending on what you want with trophies and such, but in war, let every troop just attack until it dies, because we have won wars with super low percentage advantage, like less than 1%. So every destruction you can get is super important. And they will not do anything more now. Alright. So that was the same composition I have. He even has a stronger champion than I do. So what would we learn from this one? Maybe that we don't need to put our wall wrecker here. No wall wrecker, but instead the royal champion will take care of that one, and the wall wrecker will go this way instead, or maybe even this way if it was so difficult to take care of that one, and then you can just rely on a jump spell here instead and just don't care about anything else, because then your troops will go in here, kill that one. You can activate the Grand Warden when the bomb goes off, and then you will have all your troops here trying to fight out. Alright, so yet another attack from the same war. This time the attacker is Brock, and he also uses the GIBOWI, but as you can see he has a little bit different composition than I have. So he has a lot more bowlers, for example, and a lot more bowlers and a fewer amount of witches, and just a little bit more giants as well. So what should we look for here? As we know, this one is the enemy here, and it's also sided with the one we hate, the multiple Inferno Tower. That would of course indicate that this attack path or this attack path is the ones we want. So the town hall is up here, we have 2 Infernos here, and the clan castle here, and actually some DPS as well with expos here. So if you pack a few extra free spells here, you might be able to attack from this angle or this angle as well, because there is a lot of DPS here and also a lot of DPS here. So we don't always have to attack the Eagle Artillery, but it's very preferred. We would probably have to use a few extra freezes not to take so much damage from it during our attack if we choose another angle, but it's certainly possible. And if you deploy the king early, the Eagle Artillery might lock onto the king and he can tank some damage from it for quite some time. So if he's alone, like if the king is here or something with a few bowlers and witches that take out the defenses around here, he can tank the Eagle Artillery for quite some time. Alright, let's see what Brock does here. Oh, he goes from the corner. Alright, so let's see what happens here. So probably his thought pattern here was to make the Warwrecker just go through everything into the middle. That's a good idea, actually. But we have the problem with funneling. And now he has to also deploy all of his giants very quickly because of the defenses so close to the edge, just as I had to do in my attack earlier. because you don't want these squishy units here to get destroyed so quickly. Witches want some time to deploy their skeletons that can be the cannon fodder for our army. Oh, here is another problem. We don't do any funneling whatsoever. There's no units here and no units here taking care of this. So our units will actually follow the war wrecker into the middle. So let's see what consequences that has. And remember, we don't have our Grand Warden with us, so we cannot save our clump of units when the Eagle artillery eventually will smash it from the skies. So as you can see already, his troops are starting to go like this because there isn't so much to attack here. And there's walls in the way as well, because the wall wrecker, just as in Sarek's case, wasn't quick enough to get through here. Alright, so let's see here what happens. So the troops is starting to go towards the sides. Lock on the king here, and it dies without using the free spell. Now free spell is used on the eagle, but it's almost a little bit too late. So look at the army composition now. There's just a few witches here, a bowler here, and then we don't have any units left, so it really doesn't matter so much. It would have been more useful to actually freeze this one so the king would have lived. But he got the clan castle, so now it's all about getting 50%, so we at least get a 2-star. So try to salvage the situation as good as we can. So that should be our priority right now. Just try to get the 2-star. So I would probably freeze the eagle once more. So the eagle shooting. We have some units in the outskirts of the base, which is good. And there the champion died. She could have taken out a few more structures, probably with a free spell on the eagle. This is looking quite dire right now. Alright, here we have a free spell on an expo that didn't do anything as well. And he had 2 jump spells as well. And okay. So it seems that this no heal spell is still not active. So he probably deployed his jump spell here and here, despite having the war wrecker going exactly that path. So I think it's probably a panic jump or something. Oh no, please troops, don't funnel to the sides. Please go in here. Sometimes it will work. I've done that same mistake many times, where I forgot to funnel or didn't funnel properly, and the troops start wandering off in all directions, and I just try to emergency save the whole situation with the jump. Sometimes it works, but usually it doesn't, because the troops already have their targets in mind. So unless that target is destroyed, they won't look for a new path to alter their course. So alright, so he still has his ability on the queen, so he'll get the 2-star at least. 56%. Alright, so at least he got a 2-star. He salvaged the situation properly despite the horrible start he had. So what could Brock have done differently here? I would say the main reason is he chose the wrong angle to attack. Firstly, he attacked from a corner, this corner in particular. If you attack from this angle, I would rather see this way or this way, so you can spread out your boulders, because the boulders hit and do a lot of damage, right? So if you have 15 boulders in a clump and they all attack the same target, the majority of those boulders will have a DPS of 0. Their DPS will crush the target they are attacking in one swipe anyway. So you don't want that. You don't want a lot of boulders standing on the same tile, if you will, and attack the same target, because then you will lose a lot of your DPS. So personally, I would have probably attacked from this angle here, with a witch here and a witch here. As you can see here on the outskirts, there's not a lot of there's a few wizard towers here, and I think there's one here too behind this one. So you can easily deploy a few witches here to get the funnel going, and then you will have your troops wandering in here to the middle, right? Then you take this out, and the eagle artillery won't kill your champion. It will not kill everything. And then you can use a jump spell here, because the war wrecker might be dead at this point, and then you won't have any problem. You still have the freezes here, maybe for the inferno towers that were in this general area, but it shouldn't be a problem. It was single target. We usually don't care about those at all. Alright, so let's have a look at one more at least before we close this down. Alright, so yet another attack in the same war, but from another player, also using the GIBOWI. I have so difficulty saying that in English because I'm Swedish, as many Swedish people will hear from my accent, my thick accent. But alright, nothing I can do about that. Alright, so this, I chose this base because it's similar to the one Brock just attacked, right? Similar, not exactly the same, I think. It might actually be the exact same layout, but it's just a weaker base, right? Because it's a Town Hall 12. And as we all can see, it's a lot weaker. So we remember what we said in the last one, right? We would probably like to attack from here or from here. In certain cases, if we modify our army accordingly, we might be able to attack from here or here as well, but just not from the corner, and do bring all our heroes, especially if we are attacking high up. If we attack lower than our own town hall, we might be able to skip a hero and still get the 3-star, no problem. Alright, so where does he attack from? I didn't see this yet, so I just know the result. Alright, so he comes from the bottom, it seems like. So that's good. I've talked a lot to Mu about the funneling and how to do it and things I go over in this video. So he uses his war wrecker to go this way. That's fine. So the most important thing here is probably to take out these structures somehow, so the units won't run away that way. And maybe a few more units here to take that out. So he attacks in here, all the troops funneling, that's good. There was the rage spell, and he also activates his ability of the Grand Warden. I would say that's a little bit early. I don't know if this is a 5-star town hall yet. If it's not, then it doesn't matter, then it was probably good. If this is a 5-star, I would rather keep the Grand Warden ability for the bomb going off here. For all you guys that don't know, when you are at Town Hall 12, you can upgrade your Town Hall so it attacks back. I think it's called the Giga Tesla. I'm not sure though. Don't quote me on that, guys. and when you upgrade it 5 levels, it also explodes when it's destroyed. So, and deals a lot of AoE damage, which is problematic to say the least. Alright, so all his units come in here and they wreck this portion of the base. So, as you can see now, if we compare this attack to Brock's attack, Mu don't have to deal with the Eagle Artillery anymore. And despite Brock even cleaning out stuff here, he still had to deal with the Eagle Artillery shooting over and over and over. So that is of course the reason why you would like not to go in any other direction than the Eagle Artillery. Alright, so we have funneled here. We have a good chunk of units walking here. We have a good chunk of units walking here. And as you can see here, here comes the clan castle. And as you could see, we don't care. Just put down a poison spell, maybe a heal spell, and you're fine. If you funneled properly and got all your troops in the middle together, you don't care about the clan castle troops at all. Granted, this is a weaker base than the one Brock attacked, of course. And also he has his Grand Warden. He has also boosted his troops, we can see here as well. But still, it was a good executed attack, which made us point out the things we want to look out for in the future. So, thanks for watching this episode. Leave a like and subscribe to our channel. And if you're curious about any other war strategy, please post it in the comments below and I'll have a look at it. Cheers! See you next time!